A technician that does tech-generated leads, is it possible for them to make over $300,000?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they can definitely.
And are you proof of that?
I'm definitely proof of that, yeah.
Would you say that the role that you're in as a technician is more of a sales role or is it a technical role?
You could be the most technical person in the world and know everything you possibly can, but if you can't relay that message to our client, we can't get your knowledge and use that for the client to figure out what they can do to make the best decision for them and really improve what's going on with them.
What do you think it is that David does that's world-class?
I let them understand the whole process of what's going to happen. I even give them the option of doing nothing. Just to let them know, like, hey, I'm here just to kind of give you as many pathways for you to feel comfortable and what we need to get done.
Hello, I'd like to welcome you all to the Wisdom of Wrench podcast. My name is Kevin Comerford, and we have a special show today. We are getting back to having goats on the show. And we have a true GOAT in the area of tech-generated leads revenue on the show today. He has been to the GOAT Awards for all 4 years that we've had the GOAT Awards. This gentleman in tech-generated lead revenue finished number one in tech-generated leads in 2024. He wanted to give a shout-out to Michael Mullins, I might add, that, hey, if I could beat Michael Mullins, that's all my focus was. So, Michael, kudos to you, buddy. We had great thoughts before we began recording this about you, brother. So, very, very special. Currently, in 2025, competition has gotten greater. Right now, David is number 6. Yet, if you saw the comeback that David Urrutia has been making over the last 6 months, it's incredible, the results that he's put up to put himself in the 6th spot. You know, as well as I do, that David will be there in San Diego for the GOAT Awards in March of 2026. So happy to have David here on the show. So let's get to know David a little bit, and then let's see if we can figure out what is it that makes David special, and how can we take a few nuggets from what he does every single day out there in clients' homes? So, David, welcome to the Wisdom of Wrench podcast,
Thank
my
you.
friend.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, and it's great to have you. Why don't we just begin, David? Just with your history. Tell us a little bit about you and your background, and I'll let you go.
Okay. So I was born in Fremont, so that's in our region of Livermore District. So grew up there, went to Catholic school, was an altar boy, so did all that. I would say I was actually really shy growing up. I remember the reason I broke my shyness is my mom told me to try out for student council in like the 7th grade. And you have to talk in front of the whole student body. And that was, for me, like a nightmare. Like, I barely want to talk to them in front of my own classroom. So the whole entire student body was like something. So I remember my mom coming up with me. We coming up with like a speech because I was trying out for like the sports athletic director title, whatever that was back then. And we did a Simon Says game to break the ice with the whole crowd and have them get up and do what I was doing. And then from there, I think my shyness just went away. So from there, I was like, if I could do this, I could do anything when it comes to kind of just building my confidence of like communicating. So I think that was like my breakthrough moment in childhood. And then in high school was just mostly just kind of finding out who I was, kind of, playing sports. I didn't know what I really wanted to do in high school. I know my mom and my dad kept telling me, like, you got to go to college. Everyone go to college, you know, and go get your degree and follow the technical format for success, that every parent wants to tell their kids. And we went to high school, got good grades, I went to Ohlone, got my A in communication.
Yeah.
So I knew that was something I really liked to do. I just didn't know what to do from there. And then from there, kind of just worked a bunch of odd jobs, to be honest. Worked in a deli as my first job when I was 18. Shout out Lucky's. And from there, we're just kind of communicating back and forth. And then I went from there to being a waiter to bartending, and a bunch of other customer service related jobs. So no matter what I was doing, even till today, I feel like communication and communicating with the client was always something I really was easy for me to do. Bartending was something that I liked because it was fast paced, and I knew that it was something where I know what they want, get straight to the point, get it done, go home. And then that was kind of it until we got to here. I met my wife back then, and I knew that getting home at 2, 3 in the morning was not something that was going to work for us. So then I started looking for a 9 to 5, and then I got on Indeed, found Service Champions. Didn't know anything about HVAC except that I didn't even know what HVAC stands for, to be honest. But then applied, luckily got into here, and then it kind of all started from there.
And that was back in what year?
I think 2017.
So 2017.
Yeah.
You come to Service Champions. No HVAC experience at all.
No, I mean I remember passing the heater in my parents' garage, but that was the best I really knew about what a heater was.
Yeah.
We didn't even have air conditioning because we grew up in Fremont. So, so we didn't have one until actually maybe like way later on.
Yeah, but you have some communication skills. You worked as a bartender. You worked as a waiter. And it's funny because I'm talking to someone right now, David, who is looking for a sales job. He's worked as a bartender.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sharing with him that this is the perfect job for someone who it has got great communication skills, because he's like you. He's a bartender, so it's just natural. It's just natural for him to be able to connect with people. And it's just interesting that your journey is similar to the one of the gentleman that I'm literally talking to right now. It's really cool. It's really cool. So anyway, so you look at Indeed, you see heating and air conditioning or HVAC, or you're not even sure what that means.
Yeah.
You come in for the interview process, and the interview process for sure is more or less hire for attitude, train for skill. And you were the perfect person for that.
I had it with Sarah Ward. And I remember sitting in the front office over here, and she was like, I remember easily, she was like, how much do you want to make? And I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe like 100,000. Sounded like a lot at the time. And then she's like, that's it? That's all that's your goal? And I didn't even think about the possibilities of even making more than that here. But then when she said that, I said, okay, I'm game. Let's get it going. So.
Wow. So you come on board, you go through university, you train for 10, 12, 14 weeks, and then you start your journey as a service tech, a T1 training, T1 technician. Great. And we're going to get into all that. I want to hear a little bit more about your family.
Yeah. So I have a brother. He's 6 years older than me. And my parents are still here, thank God. My parents actually are retiring at the end of this year. So I'm happy for them, but good relationship with them. My grandparents lived in the home with me. So my parents did the working life balance. It was a little hard because they had to go all the way to San Francisco from Fremont, which is a commute. So I would see them every day, but more later in the day, like around 7. So my grandmother and my grandfather would make sure I get up for breakfast.
Wow.
I still can't drink milk till today because my grandma was like, you have to drink a glass of milk every day. Every day before school. So I think it's been like almost 15 years since I had a glass of milk. But that's how it was. That my grandpa was more on me like a dad, like sports structure. He was with all my games and things like that. So it was a mixture between my grandparents raising me and my parents, but I got values from both of them. But everything was what I could really appreciate now as a parent myself, that I have 2 little ones, my son Joseph, who's 5, and my daughter, who's 3, that everything I kind of learned from them and some now I'm trying to do for my kids. But I think as you don't really understand what your parents do for you until you become a parent yourself. And so now I appreciate them even more than before.
Especially your mom. Shout out to moms for pushing you to do that student council role.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, your mom having you get out there on those skinny branches. She knew that if I can get my son out on those skinny branches, that's where the fruit is. Because, you know, at that age, at a young age, we all want to hold on to the trunk.
Yeah.
And we need somebody in our lives to push us to say, hey, keep going out further on that branch.
Yeah.
Get out there because that's where the fruit is. And it sounds like your mother played that role for you.
No, for sure. Yeah.
Which is so cool and so special. And so how about a shout out to your wife?
Yeah. So she's probably the reason I actually got the job here, like I was saying before. I knew she was the one when I first met her. We met at watching a boxing fight at one of my friend's house a long time ago. It was just everyone gathering up to have something to do for the weekend. Met her, and she basically told me, like, you know, because we were doing odd jobs. She had a career. She was working in cardiology, doing her EKG, et cetera. And so
share with the audience her name.
Her name is Holly, and she had everything going. And a little bit about my wife is she never had anything easy for her. She worked everything for her. Everything she's earned. Even was hard for her to agree to become a stay-at-home mom because she's like, I've been working since I've been 13. Like, what do you mean telling me to stop working? So it was like hard for her to even accept that. Wow. But she knew that if anyone's going to be raising our kids and molding them, it's going to be her and I. Mm-hmm. So she's the rock. Everything gets done because of her. But she's also the reason why I got here in the first place, because she gave me the leeway of saying, hey, I know we were here, but at this point, she gave me a deadline at a year. You need to have something a little bit different where it's more career-oriented, 9 to 5. And so she put me on the road for here to be more successful.
That's fantastic. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, good. Let's talk a little bit about your journey as a new technician. Coming in, all you know how to do is maintenances. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's all the university teaches is how to do maintenance. Earlier, before we started the podcast, you shared with me something about, it's funny, my results became better and better as my technical skills caught up with my communication skills.
Yeah.
So explain what that means and the journey you kind of went through with regards to that.
Okay. Yeah. So when I first started, I remember people would tell me, especially senior techs then, they would be like, hey, it's okay if you break things here and there. You're going to learn while you're doing this job. And for me, it's like, I don't want to break anybody's thing, make the client upset. And then from there, it's just nothing's going to happen. Like, hey, do you know what you're doing type of thing. So with the CU, learning kind of everything here. But for me, learning more for me is kind of having my hands on everything, kind of doing the process of everything. So once I got to the point where every type of part I repaired and got to the point of doing those, seeing constant diagnoses of what's going on, I got more confident in myself to be able to tell the client exactly what's going on. Before, I would be like second guessing myself, maybe making a call to a senior tech, maybe calling, shout out Blake, our GM now, because he was the most technical technician in the whole entire branch. So I probably called his phone way too much back then, but he was always really good about answering my questions and letting me know what's going on, and this is what's probably going on. But he'd always tell me, but make sure you do this and this to make sure that's really what's going on. So once I got to the point where I get to a house now, we have the communication of them telling me what's going on, and then I kind of already have an idea, already know what's kind of happening. Not to be too confident, but kind of idea where to start at least and what the possibilities are. So now once I don't have the in the back of my head, I'm not worried if I made the right decision on what's going on. I know I made the right decision. So now that's not a worry for me anymore. Now it's just more communicating to the client, like, this is what's happening to your home, and these are the pathways we can to solve this for you. Mm-hmm. And so once I got to the point where I felt confident like that, everything just kind of skyrocketed from there.
And boy, did they ever skyrocket.
Yeah.
Because your results were pretty mediocre when you first came in.
Yeah.
2017, 2018, 2019. Mm-hmm. And then I'm just hearing that you were certainly achieving your expectations. Mm-hmm. So don't get me wrong.
No, I understand.
Because they just weren't GOAT performance expectations is all I'm saying. You certainly were hitting the expectations on the career path beyond, because like you said, every time you were up for a promotion, guess what happened?
Got promoted.
You got promoted.
Yeah.
And so that in and of itself is a heck of an accomplishment, because, you know, the numbers we have and the expectations at the different levels of a technician, those are challenging, especially when you are just learning, when you're just gaining the understanding of, okay, what am I supposed to do here?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So what were some of the things that you did that you could share? And you already did. You said I would always talk to technicians and call Blake. So you already gave some of that. But think of a technician out there right now that is maybe struggling with competence. You know, the first C that I think is so critical when it comes to being a successful technician. I'm going to talk about the 3 C's here in a second. But competence, having that foundational layer of technical competency. How would you suggest that to someone they get more?
I would say don't be afraid to make mistakes as the first thing. We're all going to make mistakes whenever those happen. It's just what I always told myself is don't make the second mistake twice or the first mistake twice. And then always be open to doing new things, and don't be afraid to communicate when you don't know, because there's always people that are going to be able to help you. Because one thing I really like about Service Champions is that there's always someone to call if you don't know what you're doing. Even I tell the newer guys, if they want me to go with them to show them, I would love to go help them, show them how to do it the first time. Now they know, now they're building that confidence of, hey, I did this. Now the next thing, what can I learn next? And it's just constantly kind of just learning. I did a lot of YouTube videos, kind of seeing what I didn't know, kind of see videos about that. Because for me, like, I can read something and I can kind of understand it, but for me, it's more kind of seeing the visual of how it's done. It's a lot more my learning aspect. So for me, my advice would be is to do it. To do all the things you could possibly can do, to do every repair, to do everything. And if you haven't done a repair yet, to do it. So anytime it comes in the future, you're not worried about if you can do it. You know that anything that's available to do, you can do.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So would you say that the role that you're in as a technician is more of a sales role, or is it a technical role?
So a lot of people will feel different views on that.
Yeah.
For myself, just like I was telling you earlier, I didn't skyrocket until my technical came to where my communication was. So it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
And what I was telling the other people is you could be the most technical person in the world and know everything you possibly can, but if you can't relay that message to our client, then there's just a waste of your knowledge, because we can't get your knowledge and use that for the client to figure out what they can do to make the best decision for them and really improve what's going on with them.
Yeah, I've seen many technicians come through the door throughout all of Wrench. I've seen them where they emphasize too much of their communication skills. They're almost too salesy, lacking the technical competency. And that's a very stressful situation to be in if you're looking to.
I had that experience at the most random place. I just remembered. And it was the veterinarian when I took my dog. And the lady came in, and I was here for my dog. I just wanted to forgot what was going on with him. She comes in with an iPad and said, "These are the 3 things I can do for you." But we didn't even have a real conversation. And then she was like, "I recommend this one," but there was all 3 different prices on what the best one is. And the third one had the highest price point. And I was like, I came here for the vet. I didn't come here to get, sold on all these extra additives or additions for him. So that's how I felt. So I know I never want to make a client feel that way. And so when I want to, how to treat people the way you want to be treated is kind of my whole thing. So that when I felt that way, I made sure that I never want to make anyone feel that way when I go to their home.
Wow. Yes, it sounds to me like the person pulled out the iPad before they even diagnosed your dog, or all you were there for is let's just figure out what's wrong with my dog. And she goes right into a sales pitch, good, better, best, and I really think you should start with the best. And it probably felt like you needed to take a shower.
Yeah,
You were done with it.
yeah. Did not see that coming. No,
Yeah.
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that showed up for you at a vet. I've had a similar situation happen to me when I was just looking to get cabinets in my garage, and I just wanted cabinets. And the first person came out, and it was just all slick sales, and all of a sudden it was discounted from $15,000 down to $5,000 before I knew it, and it was like, oh gosh, this just feels so weird. Mm-hmm. And then the next guy came out and was just so competent and gave me all these different solutions. And do you really need a top cabinet? And didn't sell me anything I didn't need. And obviously, guess who I went with? I ended up going with him because, like you said, totally competent. He sold me with his competency. He sold me with his solutions of what would be right for me. And so it's interesting. You have a scenario that is kind of interesting. Veterinarian. Mine was cabinets that just spoke to me. That first C of a successful technician is be competent technically. That's number one. Number two, and it's funny, you already said it, because once you have competence, then you gain confidence.
Yeah.
And you said that. Once I got competence, I gained confidence. And by the way, David, the client gains confidence in you as well.
Oh, for sure.
So confidence works both ways. And then the third thing is control, which is being able to control the situation, being able to ask the right questions to get the conversation to go where you want it to go, controlling your emotions and not getting too excited too fast. So just being cool. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's no different than, you're at a bar and you don't want to come off too strong to a woman.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she's going to be like, ooh, get away from me. It's like, just be cool.
Yeah.
Like, just let things marinate. Instead of being a microwave, be a crock pot.
Yeah. I get that from my dad, actually, going all the way back, is my dad is probably the most patient person in the whole entire world I've ever met. And like, I don't know even how he does it. And being married now, looking at him now, I was like, oh, patience is the key, and just always being patient. So he's always even keel all the time, unless, it was Walmart and I was making a show of things, then he was like, okay, let's stop.
Yeah.
But I feel like everyone I talk to now says the same thing about me, is that I'm always just even keel. I'm never too high or too low on whatever happens, and just want to be calm. And when you go to someone's house where their house is, they're uncomfortable because it's too hot in the middle of a 100-degree day, or it's so cold because it's the middle of winter, just trying to make it calm and letting them know that we're going to get something done for them and that we're going to make sure we get a solution for them so they can be comfortable again as soon as possible.
And it's that calm voice of reason, it sounds like, that wins those clients over.
Yeah, I try to just stay even keel the whole entire time I'm there.
So good.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's get into a call.
Okay.
So David's on a call. Let's just say it's a maintenance call. It's a 15-year-old system. System's running great. Meaning system's running fine. It's 15 years old. Yeah. So it's, you're going to obviously uncover some things and probably discover a few things through your call. Mm-hmm. Just take us through what a typical call looks like for you.
So this is what I tell everyone when they go on ride-alongs with me is, don't have a set thing you're going to say on every call. Don't treat every call the same. Every call, the minute the door opens, is always going to be different. You can have someone, especially after COVID and everyone stays home from work now, you can have people that, hey, I'm going to be in my conference call in 5 minutes. I'm only going to have 2 minutes to talk to you in an hour amount of time. So every time you open the door, kind of figure out what's their day going like. What's their plan for the next hour or two, so you can make sure you set up that time and set up where you're going to have that time to communicate them for the next 10, 15 minutes. Maybe it's only 2 minutes,
Right.
sometimes people's homes. So you want to make sure that we set that in their mind that, in an hour or two, we're going to sit down and talk for about 10, 15 minutes what's the best time for them. And sometimes they're like, oh, anytime. Sometimes they're like, hey, I'm only between 10:30 and 11 I only got. So I make sure that that's always set from the beginning so we can make sure we always have a conversation.
Got it.
Because I've had people where they go, I was ready to go. I had all my paperwork done. And they're like, okay, thanks. I have a meeting to go to. I'll be for the next hour. And then now they don't have a chance to say anything they wanted to say. So just kind of set the format there. But treat every client in their own way. Kind of go with the flow, but still have a format that you lean on, that you want to cross all the T's and dot the I's. But what I always tell everyone is I always ask the same question at every call. And I always ask them, hey, even though we've been there for years or it's our first time out, I said, what's the one thing, if I can see anything in your entire home that you want me to make sure we improve today? Maybe for 2 days, 3 days straight, they tell me nothing. Or maybe the first day someone tells me something. But by asking that question, you're always going to make sure that you never left out one client for the one thing that they wanted you to get across. So you always do that. After that, I kind of give them a layout of exactly what I'm going to do. I ask where everything is. Is there anything I can do for them that day, especially with the holidays coming up? I know people leave their ornaments and all their stuff in the storage in the attic sometimes. So I always like, hey, if I can bring them down for you or stuff like that. So... And I know that our go-to thing is garbage day. We bring those garbages in for the clients and stuff like that. But just having the conversation of setting the format for the day for what I'm going to do, and then go ahead and do the normal tune-up. But make sure you check everything. Even though the ductwork was done 5 years ago, we still check it. Check the installation levels. Check the equipment. Now, since we've done electrical and plumbing, now check the panels. Check the water lines. So don't prejudge a call. Is also like the number one thing. You never want to say, hey, everything's already done here, or they're not going to do anything. Just keep going through everything and make sure you touch on every basis, because if you leave something out, you're just costing yourself money, basically, is the way I look at it.
So what I'm hearing is, and I like to refer to that as the explore step.
Yeah.
Which is just be super thorough.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Is that what you say? Do you think you do that differently than most technicians? Do you think you do that? Do you think you're pretty thorough on your calls?
Pretty, yeah. The one thing I do remember actually from you when you came to the CU is you were telling us about the picture frame you had of everything you wanted, your like kind of views of what your goals were. And what I took from that is my family, what we always do is anytime we see like a photo booth, we always take pictures. So I have a picture of my family, like a roll photo booth in my car. So I always look at it before every call, and I'm like, okay, even if I feel a little tired or feel a little bit not wanting to be there that day, I look at my photo. I know that's what the goal is, to make sure that I can do everything for them. And that's what makes me be thorough on every call, because the days I don't feel like maybe being as thorough, I remind myself what we're doing it all for. And so being thorough is making sure that you kind of hit everything without, one person told me this, it was kind of salesy, but if you don't check it, then the next person's going to get it. And so that's why I always wanted to make sure I got everything. Yeah. I didn't want to leave anything else for the next guy.
I was talking to a technician the other day, and I corrected him because he said, look, I'm just looking to get more out of my calls. And I just have to figure out how to get more. And I'm like, okay, sounds pretty easy to me. Just got to, first off, you got to tweak that language.
Yeah.
Because the only way you're going to get more is if you give more. So you have to give more and create more value for your client. Be a better steward in their home for them, because they deserve it.
Yeah.
When you go through and you're thorough and you look at things and you're able to give more, naturally what will happen is you get more.
Oh, yeah.
So it sounds like that's one of the things that you're doing. When you look at that picture of your family, you're like, okay, it's time to give more so I can get more for my family.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say like also consistency. I'm a really big sports guy. So, consistency on making sure you do it on an everyday, thing. So when I look at regular players that you might not remember their names, but you see people like Steph Curry, or you see like people like Kobe Bryant, they have that mentality of like every day is going to be that day. And so I try to bring the same mentality to work of doing everything like I need to get done.
Well, you certainly have demonstrated that with all of your super high performance, again, in the GOAT Awards and finishing number one. Thinking about your process in the home, back to that. Mm-hmm. What do you think it is that David does that's world class? If you could say one thing when you're in the home with a client that you do differently, or not even differently, but that you do that is world class, what would that be?
I feel like I let them understand the whole process of what's going to happen. And I give them the options. And, I even give them the option of doing nothing as an option. Just to let them know, like, hey, I'm here just to give you as many pathways for you to feel comfortable and what we need to get done. And so I feel like me communicating that from the beginning to the point where we even set the appointment for the comfort advisor to come in. I'm setting up for the next person. Hey, this is what's going to happen here. They're going to come here. And so the client's always comfortable. Mm. And I feel like maybe the best thing I can do is always making sure the client's comfortable on the whole process of from when I'm there to when the comfort advisor gets there to even when the installer arrives, how we're always going to make sure that they're taken care of and making sure that's the way they feel the whole entire time.
I love that.
Yeah, because even now, I know all the comfort advisors. I know all their numbers. I know all their names. And so I let them know, exactly what's going on so that we're all on the same page. Mm-hmm. And so I don't want them to feel like the next person didn't tell them this or I didn't tell them that. So everything I communicated with my client, I make sure the comfort advisor knows that, hey, this is what we talked about. This is where their biggest concerns are, and make sure we're all on the same page to make sure the client's comfortable and make sure we do all that for them.
And do you do that through a video for the comfort advisor, or do you do that verbally with the comfort advisor?
I'll do videos. Jim will tell you I don't do videos because I call Jim all the time, even when I'm there. But videos work, especially the days I know that I'm not going to be working. So that if I'm not able to get reached, I want to make sure that we still get all those points across. But personally, I do like calling the comfort advisor.
When you find out who's going to run it.
Yeah, when I find out who's going to run it, the next day I'll see whose name it is, give them a call.
Or the same day.
Yeah. And give them a call and let them know exactly what the client's concerns are, kind of what their hot spots are, let them know what, where they might feel a little bit, have anxiety about and things like that. When Zach Sire was here, I remember him always saying, remember the dog's name, the little details like that to make sure that we take care of them and we know all about those things and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's
and what do you think that does? Why do you do that?
I feel like it's just that we're different than everyone else when it comes to things like that. The one thing is we want to make sure that we want the client to know we're doing everything we possibly can to make sure they're taken care of. And it seems like that's what should be done no matter who's coming to your home. But I've had clients tell me all the time, like, you guys are different. You guys are completely different. And one time I had a client that was elderly. And anytime I have a client that's elderly, I always get their kids involved. Just because I want the whole family to feel comfortable.
I love that.
And so about maybe mid-December, I had an elderly client in Fremont. And, she had a unit that was older. And I could tell she was kind of like, kind of having some anxiety about what we need to get done. So I just sat with her, talked to her for a little bit, tell her I grew up from Fremont, kind of got some common ground. And then I found out what was going on with the unit, still talking to her while I'm doing it through the whole process. And then I said, hey, I found out what's going on, but, before we have a conversation, why don't we call, if your son or your daughter are around, are they available by phone? So we called him on speaker. I let him know about everything. I let him know about our MVP plan because I want to, even if it's a plan, I still want the son to know what's going on with his mom that's elderly. So he feels comfortable that we're taking care of her.
Yes.
And so we did that. We got the job sold. We got the system installed the next day. We made sure that everything was good with her. Even got her an electrical visit because she had a power cord that she might trip over. So I said, oh, that's not good. We should make sure that, you don't trip over that. Let's get an electrician in here to make sure we can take care of that for you. Mm-hmm. And the last thing, she kept telling me, like, your services and you communicating with my family I've never had this experience before. Mm. And the last thing was when I opened the door when we were leaving, there was a box for her because she had those boxes that they make your dinners with all the ingredients. Mm-hmm. I picked it up for her, brought it to her table. I opened it up for her, put it in her fridge. And then she was like, the service that you did today made my day. Mm. And so I feel like that is what makes us different than anybody else.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you have a client that you're talking to about the next step, maybe replacement. How do you bridge that conversation? Because up to now, let's just assume you've built a great rapport with the client. Mm-hmm. You've asked them a bunch of questions, like the one that you asked around what's the one thing that if they could choose one thing to make different and improve about their home comfort system, what would it be? You've asked that question. They've shared it with you. So you've got great rapport with this client. How do you now bridge that conversation to where you call into the sales lead coordinator to set the appointment without blowing it up?
Yeah. So the one question that I probably get all the time is, what would you do if this was you? And so I feel like that's a trap question right away. So
okay, I want everybody to hear this.
Yeah.
It's a trap question.
Yeah. It maybe when I was my first year, I'd be like, oh, replace it. Just jump in the gun. What I actually respond with back to them is, what's your goal for this particular home? What are you going to be here for the next couple of years? Are you going to be here for 2 years? Are you moving? Are you going to be here forever? Is going to be your kid's home in the future? And so once they tell me that, I go based off what you're telling me that, you plan on being here for a long time. This is something that you're probably maybe want to look at the option of replacing it, just so, your future kids that are going to move in here, or anybody else, or you're going to be comfortable for however long we're going to be here for. We make sure that you have no more headaches. It's something that you don't have to worry about again. And so once I respond with that, it's more like we're looking at what is the best for you. And that's makes them at ease, because I'm saying, if we're going to if you're going to be here less than 2 years, let's just fix it. Let's just go ahead and take care of it now. You're not going to be here in 2 years. If you're going to be here longer than that, let's get something done permanently for the long term, and get that done for you too. So I feel like when I tell the clients that, then they're at ease. Mm-hmm. But once they agree to, let's have someone come out here, and get some the comfort advisor out here to look at better results for replacing. I let them know about what's going to happen in the conversation before they even ask.
Before you mean the conversation with the person in the office?
Yeah. So okay. I let them, hey, we're going to call it in. They're going to let you know the how long the duration of the appointment's going to be, what the whole visit consists of. They're going to let you know that they want to have you and your wife available, or wife and husband available. So I was like, we should look at, today if you're available, or if today is not available, let's look at the calendar before we call, so then we can have a smooth conversation with them, let you know exactly what's going to happen. And so I kind of prep them for the call.
Which is huge.
Yeah, because sometimes people feel, well, why are you asking me about the sole owner?
Right.
So I don't want that to be, in the conversation and make the person from sales coordination. Yeah. I don't want them to feel stuck because they're like, oh, why are you asking me that question? So I want to get all of that taken care of before we even make the phone call.
Boy, that's huge. That's powerful. Mm-hmm. I hope every technician hears that.
I've told all the guys in Livermore.
Yeah.
Now everybody else knows.
Yeah. And that's beautiful, is prep the client for what they're going to get when you call into sales lead coordination, because sales lead coordination, they have a qualification process. Mm-hmm. They qualify it and make sure this is a legitimate appointment that they're going to be sending the comfort advisor out to, because the comfort advisors have a limited amount of time as well. Mm-hmm. And they want to make sure the comfort advisors are going out to take care of people that are serious about getting something done.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever talk about that with a client?
Oh, yeah. What I would tell them is that, hey, so we I feel like I get the vibe from the kind of what direction they want to go is.
Yeah.
And I'll never sign a comfort advisor in there just for no reason.
Right.
There's always going to be a need and things like that. But going back to the SLC phone call, the 60, 90 minutes, I don't think really people kind of like, they might say, that's a long time. Sometimes I think it's not going to take that long.
Right.
But the one question that some people get a little bit irritated with is, are you the sole homeowner? Because they're like, I can take care of this myself, or things like that. So that's the one I for surely let them know, like, hey, they just ask everyone that just because we want to make sure that you're comfortable. And I remember Ray telling us, hey, maybe the husband's qualified for the equipment, that you want to do this, but what about if we have to paint something? Or what if we have to take something down? And so I remember Ray telling us that, you want to let them know, like, there's going to be some things moving, maybe some furniture, and that's where the wife might be involved. And that's why I even use that, and I let them know, like, we might be moving things. And I know you feel comfortable knowing that what kind of system you want, things like that. But is your wife going to feel comfortable that we have to move all their clothes out the closet and things like that? So that's why we want her involved too. And then they mostly go, yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah.
That's great. Just so that they're confident. That's great. You mentioned earlier that let's just say did I get clarity on how you bridge that conversation? You've got a client that's interested. How do you get to the phone call?
Okay.
Like what is it that you do to because to me, I think this is where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
You've built this rapport. Pretend like I'm a client and you've been, and let's just go right into roll. How do you bridge it with me to say, hey, shall we have somebody come out and talk to you about placement? What do you so there?
I let them know, like, for example, I'd be like, hey, Kevin, remember earlier in the day you told me that your house, it warms up pretty quickly, but you feel like it doesn't stay hot for a long time, that your heater keeps from running and things like that.
Yes.
So what I did was go upstairs, I checked your insulation, and do you know how insulation works?
I don't know how it works.
So you have this amount of insulation. The best way I like to let people know is, you've had a cup of coffee before? Mm-hmm. Have you had a cup of coffee in a paper cup?
Yes.
Okay. How long does it stay hot for in that paper cup?
A short period of time.
Okay. Now, if we took that coffee and we put that in a Yeti, how much longer will that coffee stay hot for?
A lot longer.
Okay. That's how your insulation is up there. But your house is more like the paper cup than the Yeti.
I see.
And so if we want to go ahead and I made sure that was something you wanted to take care of, I can have my comfort advisor come out, and we can do a couple options. We can do where we can go ahead and add more to you up there, or we can go ahead and do some other options where we can get rid of everything, kind of clean it all out. He'll go into more detail about exactly what options consist of both, but there are plenty of options we can do for you about your installation today. And once we can go ahead and get that taken care of for you, because I know you let me know before that's your main goal for today's appointment.
Okay. So great. And then you just leave it at that.
Yeah. And then okay. And they're like, what's the next step? And then I said, I'm just going to go ahead and call it in. And then that's when we get to the calendar part and said, let me know where, it's a good day and time for you to have this done. For you and your husband, or you and your wife, for us to come over and give you where we can go ahead and add the installation for you.
So that's important. You're already setting the table that we would like to have, if possible, both people there.
Mm-hmm. I like bringing out the pamphlets too, especially for our elderly clients. So I feel like going back to how I'm more of a visual person, I like to bring those visuals out and showing them, because when I say, hey, you're R30 or you're R38, they're like, what does that even mean?
Right.
And so when I show them on the pamphlet, this is where you are and this is where we should be. It's not mandatory, but this is where we should be. They have a better idea, oh, wow, we really are lower. Because of also pictures. Pictures are going to be key for everything, because even communicating everything you want to do, if you're saying that this is your house and this is your measurement ruler, and this is where we want to be and this is where you should go, that's also going to be going a long way, because we're not just telling them, we're showing them exactly what's happening.
Great. So you set the appointment. you mentioned that you mentioned earlier that you either create a video or you talk to the salesperson. Do you create a video on every call?
I should, but I don't. No,
Okay.
yeah.
Sometimes you're either creating a video or you're talking. But
If I don't make a video, I make a call for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the call better for me. The video, like I said, if it's a call I set up for a day I'm not working, I'm going to make a video. But I like making the call more, especially when they're on the way, because then the comfort advisor can have a little bit more conversation back and forth about what do you think that we should do. I've been here a long time, so they actually take my conversation back and forth with them. They take it a long way. And I have all their numbers.
Yeah.
Even their personal numbers.
So do you take it upon yourself? Like, let's say it's Tuesday. Let's say you set the appointment on Thursday. Are you taking it upon yourself to find out Thursday who's running your appointment?
Oh, yeah. Every time I set a lead, I have a little book where it says all the dates and calendars with lines, and I put everyone's name in there that appointment's running on the 27th at 9 a.m. So I wake up for the day. It's the 27th. I look at my calendar. I'm like, oh, Shannon's running in my lead. Jim's running in my lead.
And how do you know that? Who tells you that?
I just go on to Service Titans and I look it up.
Okay.
And usually it doesn't change. Maybe it'll change within, like, if things are going, a little bit of crazy or people's names are changing. But I constantly look at it, an update maybe every hour, just to see who's running it to keep them in the loop.
Okay. Yeah. So now you see Shannon's running it, so you know you're calling Shannon that morning.
Yeah.
So that's super important. You are owning the process. You are taking it upon yourself to own that lead.
Oh, yeah.
From what I like to call cradle to grave.
Yeah.
Like you're some people might leave it to chance.
Yeah, no. I want to make sure everything we talked about, nothing changes.
And I'm talking right down to writing it down that my appointment is running on Thursday.
Yeah.
And if let's say it canceled, will you ever call the client back and find out what happened?
I'll read the message of why they canceled.
Okay.
And if it's something kind of like, timing wise, I'll call back. I know SLC has a really good job of kind of rescheduling it, but they do add a lot of notes. So if there's a note that I feel like maybe we can go ahead and get back on the schedule for, I'll give them a call.
Yeah.
And things like that. That was when I used to do a long time ago with air scrubbers. Was every time, because it's a big purchase. And so I would always write down like, hey, I'm going to give you a call Monday after you did your research. And I would get maybe about 30% more back on the schedule for installing them.
Yeah,
and things
that's
like
great.
That. But I do make, if it's the same day and I know like within the hour type of visit, and like Jim's coming out and I'm like, oh, you got the man coming today. He's seen everything. He's the person you want in your home. The only thing with him, he's just a little bit of a straight shooter. So just let you know that's how he's going to be. And so I kind of just want to prep their personality too with what they're coming to. So this does maybe once in a blue moon happens, but sometimes like where it's like a really gentle elderly client, like Shannon's the perfect client to go to that too. So it's just kind of seeing how the personalities fit as well.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. So, you talked about, we talked about prior to the air, as a technician, what's possible and how much income is possible to make.
Yeah, we broke the chart.
Yeah, we did. And the chart, the chart that David's talking about is a career path, and the career path that we have posted in the training room shows all the T1 graduates to become an M1, graduates to be an M2 to an S1 to an S2. On that chart, it shows what the expectations are, also shows the compensation levels. And I think on that chart, it has the top technician making over 200.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember Ed showing me that.
Yeah.
That was what everyone was like, hey, this is what you can do. This is what you can do.
And David has shattered that and is now telling me that we need to redo the chart, which I think David Sturgeon is on right now.
Yeah.
And changing it. Yet is it possible for a technician in your role, a technician that does tech-generated leads, is it possible for them to make over $300,000?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they can definitely.
And are you proof of that?
I'm definitely proof of that, yeah, for sure.
And I can validate that. I can validate that.
Yeah.
And to think that David, who, if you think about David's career path, went to Ohlone, right, which is a junior college, graduated with an AA communication degree. You're the perfect example of a high-paying career without a 4-year.
I still got those shirts when I go to bed.
A high-paying career without a 4-year. You're the epitome of that. And you have, David, you've bought into the system because it's really hard to buy in sometimes, right?
Yeah, there's days where, you might be a little bit second-guessing everything, but you got to get all that negative energy out of your head. And that's why when working here, I try to associate personally and work life to be with a positive mindset, people thinking. Always positive. None of that negative energy. Don't want it around me.
Yeah. It's kind of like when my father got into the business. He owned his own company prior to us starting Service Champions. In 1971, he got into the residential replacement business, and he couldn't believe it. He was like, "This is unbelievable. This is incredible," and he thought, "There's no way this can last."
I remember you telling me that when we talked on the phone.
There's no way this can last, and this was in the 80s and 90s, early 80s, and he's like, "This is just an incredible business. It's got to end at some point." Now we're 2025, soon to be 2026, and we're talking about, we're in 2026, and soon to be talking about how this thing is just continuing.
We're getting even bigger with the plumbing and electrical.
It's just, it's better than ever.
Yeah.
And the fact that now all these systems that we've been replacing all need to be replaced again because of the new refrigerant.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
It's just incredible how we just live this philosophy that if you just take care of the clients, you do the right things. And again, the messaging that David has sent is so good. You do the right things. It just will continue.
Yeah. I feel like it's also like Livermore. We've always been good. I know now Blake's the GM. Blake messaged me even on the way here. Good luck. You're killing it. You're killing everything. So just also the support of everyone, and Rich, when I first started, brought me underneath his wing. And it's all that positive and bringing uplifting energy, is really great too. And in the workplace and things like
Pretty
that.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty amazing, the team that you work for. And
yeah.
I think for managers out there, I just want to make sure they heard that Blake, who's the GM for David, who once was a fellow technician. Blake was a great technician.
Oh yeah. He was the man. Yeah.
And he's progressed and become the general manager of the location that you continue to work at. Just the support. I just want to make sure everybody heard that. When David was driving over here, Blake called him and said, "Good luck. You're going to be great. You're going to do well today, and you're the man." And that caused that encouragement to me. Is just,
and he has a technical background too. So if he knows that, we maybe need some breakfast one day, he'll do that. And so we're. I think one thing that as a branch that made us all come together is I think Blake, Rich, and Frank came up with a baseball game. And so even though we're all the same branch, we all have we have a little bit of a competitive nature with each other about which baseball team's going to win when it's coming with leads and all these different type of things.
That's so good.
And it's just all fun, but it's just fun back and forth between all of us. And if you don't know Barrett's, will let you know what's going on with no problem. So when they're winning, he's always letting us know. So then we have to come back and then let him know that, it's not going to be that easy this time around.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Barrett. He's on the,
he's a goat too.
He's a goat.
Yeah.
He's on the goat list. I think I saw Juan on the goat list.
Yeah. Juan told me.
Yeah.
Cause I remember I've been Top Gun twice in a row the last 2 years. He's I'm not going on vacation this year because of you. I'm not going to do my normal, see my family a couple times. So I better beat you. And I was like, hey, that's not you.
Yeah.
But I'm right underneath his tail right now. So he's worried. He called me. He goes, hey, you should take a vacation. And I was like, we'll see. Yeah.
Such good friendly competition. I think Sam is the last guy that's on the goat.
Sam is the one when I first started, I was like looking at him like, he was the one that, that did everything, the thoroughness, all that. And he was my motivation to be just like him.
Wow.
And also like Rich was my motivation to be like him at our center. And the one thing about, like I said, with Rich or Sam or Blake, everyone's there willing to help. And that's the thing, is that we're all in there together and help each other grow and succeed as technicians.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I mean, there's so much here. And, I'm just going to kind of recap a couple things that I heard.
Yeah.
That I think are, and please fill in the gaps if I miss anything. I think when we first started, one of the key things you said is make sure that your competence catches up with your communication skills. And this coming from a guy that graduated with an AA degree in communication, who was a bartender, a waiter, came to Service Champions already having that communication skill. But what you said is, my results really took off when I got more competent. That was huge. I also loved what you said about the importance of setting an agenda right out front, letting the client know what you're going to do, letting the client know when you're going to come back to them, when you're going to need 10 to 15 minutes, or maybe 2 minutes, you said.
Yeah.
But hey, when are we going to have a little bit of time? And every call is different, which I thought is super important as well.
I know we prep to sit at the table and have that conversation and show them every little detail. But sometimes you got, hey, I'm drinking my coffee. This is my 5-minute break. What can we get done? You got to be ready to go at that point. So always be ready is kind of at that when it comes to the client.
Yeah. You then talked about the one thing question on every call that you ask, the one question that you ask, which is, if there is one thing that you could improve about your home comfort system, what would that be? Or about the comfort inside your home? Really important, because then once you get that one thing, it sounds like you're really, really going to come back and focus on that one thing.
Yeah. I feel like that's something that you might get old because it's 2 days and everyone kept telling you, no, there's nothing, just do what you got to do. But then that third day comes around, first thing in the morning, like, oh yeah, it's been making way too much noise lately. And then there you go. But if you never would have asked that question every single time, that one wouldn't have never came up, because it's just being more consistent.
What I also love is when I asked you what you said that you do that's world class, I think what you said is just making sure as you're going along, the client is totally clear with what's happening. They're totally clear with different options. And one option might be to do nothing. And I think if I'm understanding you correctly, if you want to fill in the gaps there, if that's what I heard you say that David does that's world class.
Yeah. I would say, even my wife will tell you, my communication, I feel like, is superior. Maybe not when my wife will tell you that, but when we do go to like a random restaurant, I'll be sitting there. My wife went to the bathroom. A random couple comes in. They're like, oh, hey, how's it going? They'll sit next to me. We'll start talking. My wife will come back like, who the heck is this? And so I feel like just the easygoing conversation, being able to talk to anybody about something small or something big, I feel like it's something that I'm really, really, really good at.
Yeah. I think that I agree with you. You're world class. and I also think what you do world class with, and you might have said it, but I what I heard was you set the stage for what the client is going to experience next, either with sales lead coordination when you make that call, or with the salesperson when they come to the home, or with the installation.
Yeah.
You're setting the stage to make sure that there are no stones unturned.
Yeah. I don't want any surprises.
Yeah.
Everything wants to be smooth.
Yeah.
The floor is going to be taken care of. Your prestige floor, we're going to make sure it's totally fine. When the install team comes in, they're going to make sure that everything is nice and clean. Once we leave the home, it's going to be just as clean as we had it before we got there.
So good. And the final thing, 300K plus is possible.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember, I forgot I left out. We were talking about the truck, and I was telling you, maybe for a service tech, getting to the amount to get a truck is not possible. And you were like, right away, that's the number you got to do to get the truck. And I was like, okay, that excuse went out the window. So the following year, we hit that revenue and we got the truck.
I love
it.
So good. So good.
Just how like my mom told me, don't be, don't make any excuses. You gave me that right away back to me in the workplace. So, that's exactly what I needed to motivate me to go to that next level.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So, I feel like, David, what a great interview. Thank you for your time, and thanks for just sharing what has made you such a special goat inside of Wrench, inside Service Champions here.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And I think so many of the things that you shared about, I think they just reflect who you are as a person and how you continue to make your future bigger than your past. If I look back to 2017 when you first started, and now 2025, holy cow.
Yeah.
Look at how much bigger your future is and your future has been than your past.
Yeah.
And I know if I were to just look ahead, look out.
Yeah. I remember you and Cookie were saying, what do you guys want out of being here? What's your career path? What do you want your goals to be? And I remember telling Cookie I want to, because we didn't have kids yet, my wife and I. We weren't even married. But I wanted him to say, I want to get married, have kids, and make sure we could provide for them. And she told me without any like confident saying, you can get that done here. So shout out to Cookie.
Wow. Shout out to Cookie.
Yeah.
And sounds like you were able to have your wife stay at home.
Yeah. Luckily, because I know that's not
gift.
the best. Yeah, not everyone can do that. So
what a gift.
Yeah.
What a gift. So David demonstrates how we can always make our future bigger than our past, and it's going to be fun to watch him over the next 3 to 5 years to see how he continues to do that. So thank you, David.
For sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's to a bigger future.
See you in San Diego.
See you in San Diego. Thanks, David.
Yeah.
Take care.